Ladies and gentlemen, another incredible video from Facts for Peace. I don't want to give you guys too much of a thing. It's about anti-Semitism, and we're going to get into this. It's a very, very, very powerful video from what I've heard. I haven't seen it yet. It's the first time watching it. I'm Taller Traveling Cat, your favorite sweet Zionist prince, Zionizer. If you want to be a Zionizer just like me, get the merch down below in the description. And let's take a look at this clip.
Class, throwing pennies at me.
And he said, I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to blow up your house.
Took out a picture of Adolf Hitler. Told me that her family will kill me.
Like, that's how the Holocaust started, having to hide.
Would you consider doing that?
Hide my Judaism.
Yeah.
We invited 20 strangers to listen to personal stories of anti-Semitism and ask questions.
I was sitting in the cafeteria. Behind me, there were boys talking about this other student at my school who was Jewish. They said, this kid deserves to die and be put in an oven, just like Hitler did in the Holocaust.
In my class, we spent the majority of that unit talking about Israel-Palestine. I was asked to go to the board. They started booing. Initially, there were some shouts of Free Palestine, but the same person saying that started doing the Roman salute.
For like a few days in a row, graffiti started appearing in the bathroom stalls. A picture of Auschwitz with Kanye's album cover next to it saying Heil Hitler.
We were honoring the lives lost from anti-Semitism. There was nothing political attached to it, and multiple people came over and screamed, Free Palestine, all this stuff that was just extremely inappropriate to the setting that we were trying to have there.
A week after October 7th, a random man came up to me and said, I'm surprised you weren't killed by the Islamic Jihad. And he said, I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to blow up your house.
It was an incredibly isolating experience to be standing there at the board for that long while people are shouting all these things. There wasn't anything I could really say or do in order to stop it.
My grandparents came here from Europe, from the concentration camps, and what's happening today is not what they came here for. I don't try to hide my Judaism.
Now we open the floor to questions.
Would you consider doing that so these things would be preventable?
What, hide my Judaism?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately I do have to sometimes, which is crazy, the state of affairs we're in. If you think about it, that I have to hide my religion because I'm scared of being attacked or harassed. I mean, I do have to, I came to New York City just last week and my mom said, you have to wear a baseball hat over you and you have to take off the necklace.
Imagine being black. These are some things that are happening to you guys, but there's so much more. You're getting personally hated on for your religion, but we're getting hated on for just the color of our skin. So remember, there's other people that are much more oppressed than you.
One group's experience doesn't take away from another.
It's much easier to hide that you're Jewish than to hide your race. Even if you could hide your race, would you want to? Of course not. So when you say that maybe we should hide it, obviously nobody wants to hide something that's a real part of their identity. Sometimes we've had to take our yarmulkes off. It's not something that we want to do. We're proud of being Jewish the way you're proud of being African American, the way somebody might be proud of their gender identity or their sexual identity. People are proud of that. They don't want to have to hide it because that's a sign of an oppressive society.
The ability to hide is a privilege in itself. It shows an assimilation into whiteness. There is a privilege associated with that as well.
Of course, for white Jews, that is the case.
For sure.
51% of the Jewish population is not white, just to put that out there.
Have you guys ever experienced actual violence?
I have been in that situation. I was on the school bus, a bunch of older kids who were walking back and forth on the bus saying, raise your hand if you're Jewish, we're gonna finish Hitler's job. My best friend at the time, she pointed towards me. Then they grabbed my shirt. At that point, we were already at the stop, so nothing happened. And then afterwards, for a while, they were drawing swastikas on my notebook. So yeah, this stuff does happen, but it's not very known or spoken about.
Someone did throw a milk carton at me, and there would have been other things if at that moment a teacher didn't walk into the cafeteria and the kids stopped, no one said anything.
I've received threats. Someone had spat on my car and said anti-Semitic things.
Do you think there are people out there who can say Free Palestine yet not necessarily be anti-Semitic?
I think it depends on the environment, 100%.
The implication of saying Free Palestine to people that are mourning Jews being murdered by happens to be Palestinian terrorists, do you see how that looks like it's coming from a place of hatred and not actual care about the Palestinian people? Because it wasn't a setting in which people were discussing Israeli government policies, Israel war. It was just in that setting, it had nothing to do with politics, and they decided to come and provoke people who were mourning.
Is there room in you all's world where someone can be anti-Zionist but not anti-Semitic?
Can you define Zionism?
I feel like it's far too complex for me to, but
Zionism is actually the idea that the Jewish people have a right to live in a state where they can be free and not oppressed. So when you say that you are anti-Zionist, what you're saying is that you think that Jewish people should not have a state where they can live freely without oppression.
You said about the story about the Hitler image. I assume it happened
After the war started. Yeah.
Is it because of this, or that just the basic anti-Semitism where that's just the trigger for it to come in?
That's a good question. I think it's a mix of both. I think, especially after the war, the reason it exploded is now people kind of have an excuse for anti-Semitism. Like they use it as a disguise. They say, oh, he's Jewish, so let me disguise myself as a political activist or whatever, and then I can use forms of harassment and violence. So I think, yeah, it's become an excuse for anti-Semitism.
Right, just to add to that, there's so much overlap between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism that it's really difficult to distinguish the two.
Ever since I read about the Holocaust, I used to wear a Star of David just to stand with the Jewish people. I still have my dog tag. In New York City, it's kind of hard to wear, especially after October 7th.
There is an uprising in anti-Semitism, and my personal belief is that if we stop showing the world that we're proud to be Jewish, then it's going to become normalized. Like, that's how the Holocaust started, like having to hide, and that's shame.
I actually feel a difference now. I didn't feel unsafe before, but I do now, and I can only imagine how you guys must feel.
Even if it's like very subtle or passive aggressive or just any kind of threat, that is a precursor to violence in many cases, and that is still very scary. That is not okay.
How can we help you guys as adults? Because it seems like no adults is helping you guys, so what can we do?
I want to thank you personally. It means so much just to teenagers who are sitting and are feeling unsupported, to have people coming out here and listening to our stories and say, what can we do to help? That's the reaction that I think is so important.
Thank you all for your stories.
I appreciate you guys' bravery and courage, especially being so young, so thank you.
You're so brave to say whatever you say, and I'm so also surprised of how much anti-Semitism is going on in New York.
Terrible to hear that there's any room for hate like that in the world. The more we can have an open dialogue with each other and hear your experiences, the more we can hopefully combat it, try to eliminate it as much as possible.
You guys are the future. I do hope that you guys keep pushing and keep educating.
Fight not only for each other, but for everyone.
Stay safe, look out for one another. It's a really important thing to do.
Finding ways to build bridges I think is really important, but applaud y'all for what y'all doing.
Your stories mean a lot. You should continue to tell your stories. I'm 33 years old and I experienced depression as a small child, and I still experience it today, but I still fight and I still stand up, and I think you should all do the same.
Everyone in this room have taught me something today. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm so out of touch. So thank you guys for being so young to get up on this panel and just speak about your trauma and everything you got going on. People like me care.
Just know that, there are people who are standing with you. I have friends, and we are always praying for Israel and the Jewish people. We really care, and I really hope that you know that you do have people who are standing with you.
Thank you guys all so much for coming and listening to what we had to say today.
I wasn't crazy about that video, if I have to be honest with you. Can I explain, though, without you guys getting all fucking fussy with me about it? You guys don't. You guys are very understanding of my perspective. I've been honest when I don't like these videos in the past. Okay. First of all, let's talk about a few things. One, I think these kids are fucking heroes. And I think that highlighting the specific Ashkenazi Jewish oppression that's happening right now in America is very important. It really is very important. The only thing is the framing. Because this video came from Facts for Peace, right? Facts for Peace is a pseudo-Jewish organization that creates content. I've worked with them in the past as well, to uplift and do advocacy for Israel and for the Jewish people. Here's the deal. When we keep feeding back into this reality of anti-Semitism, we are going and we're emboldening the problem. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It's just our PR needs to be a little bit more divisive, a little bit more what's the goal of this video? The goal of this video is PR, right? We're not making any friends with this video. This video is not going to reach anybody who was anti-Semitic before and is now going to decide to suddenly be not anti-Semitic. So what does a video like this accomplish? It makes Jewish people feel good. But that's not really what we need right now. We don't need Jewish people to feel good right now. We need Jewish people to be emboldened to fight, to be courageous. And I'm not saying there's not a space for us, lifok, to and these kids that they shouldn't be able to give their 100%. They should be able to give their perspective. But the ideology, specifically what that black girl said about how you can't hide, you can hide your whiteness. Ashkenazi Jews have never been fucking white. They became white in 2023. They were never white. Ever in the history of planet Earth. They were never fucking white. Ever. They became white October 7th, 2023. That's when they became white. So the idea is that you're going to combat our narrative with more Ashkenazi Jews or only Ashkenazi Jews. Like, look, that entire panel was made up only of Ashkenazi Jewish kids. Would it have hurt you to have one Ethiopian Jewish kid that you could find in America, one Mizrahi or two Mizrahi Jewish kids there? And why do I say that? Because for the narrative of this video, okay, let's talk tachlis for a second. This video and those people in that room, that has a minor effect that is not, it's negligible, right? The idea is the content. Who's the content reaching? And imagine what an incredible talking point it would have been when that person would have said, your whiteness, you could point towards a little Mizrahi Jewish kid and say, shu whiteness, habibi. Shu whiteness. Shu. Yes, it happens to be that most Jews in America are Ashkenazi. This is true. But this isn't all our people. And that's part of the goal of this content. That's part of the goal of this advocacy. And I really say we do need to be more divisive. We do need to be more on the nose with this stuff. I'm breaking in the meta of the video, right? I do this for work. This is my job. This is what I do. So I can't sit here and just give you guys a reaction and be like, wow, that was a great video. I loved it. No, it could have been better. It could have been way better. You know, when those people, that was specifically two African Americans there was the first girl and then the guy who were saying that's you can't hide your skin color, right? Which I agree. I can't hide my fucking skin color. I can't hide my skin color. People want to kill me on the basis of where my family's from, on the basis of my diasporic background, and I look like a Palestinian. I'm still getting called a Nazi. Me, I'm a Nazi. Me, I'm a Nazi. And all the Mizrahi Jews who were ethnically cleansed by Arabs and Muslims, we're all Nazis now. Use that to your advantage. That's all I'm saying. It's a really simple point. I made a tweet about this a couple of days ago. I got a lot of fucking heat for it, for saying that I think right now we should be pushing to the forefront only Mizrahi and Ethiopian voices. It doesn't mean Ashkenazi voices get off the stage, right? In a panel like this is a perfect example. It doesn't mean any of the Ashkenazi kids need to come off the panel. It means add a few Mizrahis, add an Ethiopian or two. Diversify the palette to make it more palatable for everybody. Why? Not because Ashkenazis need to hide their story. No. Not because Ashkenazis should be ashamed of their story. No. Not because we're throwing Ashkenazis under the bus. No. Because our story, right, the Mizrahi and Ethiopian story, assists in telling the Ashkenazi story as well. It assists in understanding the horrendousness of the Holocaust and how it happened to the Mizrahi Jews and how it happened to the Ethiopian Jews, right? Those anti-Semitisms and those attacks on Jews and those pogroms, right? If we think of this of like a relay race, where we're passing the baton one to another in a goal to tell the story in completeness, right? In wholeness, so that we can eventually come back around to the other side and say, we've accomplished something. That's smart. That's conniving. That's the Jews that we can be and that we need to be. And this is more so a conversation for American Jews and Western Jews. There's enough Ashkenazis or enough Mizrahi Jews and Ethiopian Jews out there in America that you could use to your advantage in these situations. And we want to be used. We want to be used. I'm not talking about me. There are plenty. You need help finding? Look in Miami. I grew up around all of them. There's Moroccans, Ethiopians, Yemenites, Iraqis, Persians, Egyptians, Syrians, Lebanese, whatever you want. There's tons. Just go to Miami. You need some, pluck them out of South Florida. And they're also in New York. There's Bukharis, there's Uzbekistani Jews as well. There's so many. And you could use that to your advantage. Imagine how much more wholesome and complete this video would have been if you had in those specific elements, those points, be like, well, they're discriminating on, not because I look white passing, not because of the war in Palestine. They're discriminating against me because I'm a fucking Jew. I don't even want to use the word anti-Semitism. You tell me what that is. What kind of prejudice is that? Because we're all feeling it, right? Every single Jew is feeling that right now. Doesn't matter how you are, right? If you're a Mizrahi Jew or an Ethiopian Jew dressed as a Jew, right? You look outwardly Jewish right now. If you're wearing tzitzit, if you're wearing a kippah, if you're wearing whatever you are that expresses yourself as Jewish, everyone's getting hate. So bring that to the table. And I think, by the way, I saw this when I was in the Caribbean. When I was in the Caribbean, I was predominantly speaking to Afro-Caribbean and Indo-Caribbean folk. I saw the kind of effect that my color skin and my family story and my diasporic story Specifically, less the color skin, but more the diasporic story I had on these people. When I was able to tell them that my family member, right? And this goes specifically for Christian people, but when my family member, my grandpa, comes from the same lineage of people who were kicked out of Jerusalem in, during the destruction of the first temple by King Nebuchadnezzar and taken as slaves and sang by the rivers of Babylon. When I'm able to construct that story for a black person at a church or a Caribbean person at a church, it blows their fucking mind. It blows their fucking mind. It destroys their brain. They don't know what to do with it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. We should all be striving to do that. And using these Middle Eastern looking Jews or these black Jews, this will help you in telling a full story. Again, it doesn't mean anybody needs to get off the stage. Doesn't mean there needs to be less Ashkenazis. Maybe just more Ethiopians and more Mizrahis at the forefront, at the helm right now, to assist in saying and to telling a wholesome and a full story. You guys tell me what you think. Do I need to be canceled for saying that? You tell me. Some people told me I need to be canceled and I'm racist. Some high-profile people, too. Some people you probably know that I'm racist for saying that. You tell me what you think. I love you guys a long time. Goodbye, Klotz.
Has this ever happened to you? Hey, are you a Zionist? What is this hesitation? You think Judah the Maccabee was hesitating when he's fighting for Israel? Here, take this. Do you think Queen Esther hesitated before stopping Haman from ending the Jews of Persia? Well, hey Habibi, you think Herzl thought he was a white colonizer as he Zionized the Jews of Europa? Listen kid, I don't care if you're a Muslim, a Jew or a Christian. You're a Zionist, right? Yeah. Well, a good Zionist goes to thetravelingclad.com and buys some provocative merchandise. They do? Absolutely, a pinch of I have some incredible designs for you, Yeled. They say everything promised to you 3,000 years ago. Here, take a shirt with a matching hat. For you, good price. They say they kick you from 109 countries. Here, join the 109 club. Take shirt and matching hat. For you, good price. Habibi, you want to Zionize? Here, take shirt, matching hat. You like Kuba Select shel Safta? Here, take shirt, matching hat. Take sticker. Take hoodie. Take. Good price. Take. Good price. Take. Good price. Take. Good price. Yossi, achi, he understand you. Stop. A good Zionist goes to thetravelingclad.com and buys merch. Yalla, habibi. For you, good price.
If you don't want to buy any merchandise, the best way to support me is by donating on Buy Me a Coffee, my PayPal, or becoming a member on my Patreon. Your support is very much needed and very much appreciated. Thank you.